Food. Nom, 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 nom. So, like, a year ago, 2 years ago, I had a little stint in a 12-step program for food. And it's no secret that I have this demon inside of me that needs to eat all the time. Give me food. Give me flour. Give me cheese. And it's been that way most of my life, as early as I can remember. And I used to be real shy. I went through stages where I just noticed that I was fat and hungry all the time. And I didn't think that I had a problem other than I didn't like being fat. And then I realized I had a problem and I started talking about it. And that was about 12 years ago where I started talking about being a food addict, which is still like a weird thing for most people to hear because it doesn't land as nefariously as being a crackhead. If I was coming on here to make a video about being an alcoholic, I think it would be a little edgier, right? If I was making a video about being hooked on meth or opiates, I think people would listen closer. But for me to come out here and say, I have a food addiction, that's like, oh man, just stop eating. Well, you know what? I can't. It's a problem. And it's more than just willpower. It's the same thing at play. And this is what I learned in the 12-step program that I spent very little time in, but I gleaned some really valuable information from it. And what I learned about myself, I used to run around and tell people I'm a food addict. I wish that I was an alcoholic, because abstinence is an option. And this is not to diminish anybody that's struggling with alcohol or anybody that's struggling with anything, but I was always jealous of the other substance abusers, because although they couldn't stop and can't stop and feel like they can't stop, there still seemed to be a clear solution. Just stop. Abstinence wasn't an option with food. So I would say, man, I wish I was an alcoholic so I could just stop drinking. That's my problem. I just need to stop drinking, I just need to get right with food. I need to figure out how to have food in my life. And in some ways, I think that this declaration, maybe I felt like it made me special, because I was like, yo, food is even harder than crack and alcohol, son. I need this shit in my life, and so when I started the 12-step program, at a really low point, super reluctantly, what I learned about myself is that I don't have an addiction to food. And I think that this is true for most food addicts. My addiction is to flour and sugar. And it made so much sense when I started looking at the data, when I started seeing, just these, the way that sugar and flour affects dopamine, the way that sugar and flour, and for me it's mostly flour. I'm not really big, although sugar isn't everything, I'm not really big on sugar. Flour is the thing. Flour is the thing that gets me up at night and raids the fridge. Flour is the thing that puts me in a negative bank account, I'll spend my last $2 on a slice of pizza, $4 or whatever a slice of pizza costs now, or a burger, and it's like I'm not going for the burger, I'm going for that flour and the cheese, which also acts like an opiate. But the cheese isn't even that much of a problem. It's flour and sugar. And when I started looking at research that had been done and talking to other people in the program, it made me more depressed because I lost my excuse. I could no longer lament that abstinence wasn't an option, because clearly I need to abstain from flour and sugar. And when I learned that about myself and saw that this identity that I've created around being the guy who's suffering so much, woe is fucking me, that I can't even kick this food habit because I must have food in my life. Well, I do. I need good food, whole food in my life. Not flour, not sugar. That's why keto almost gets it right, for me at least. The low carb thing. But still I was consuming not really sugar, but like lentil flour and all of these cassava flours and all of these honey, all of these healthier options of these highly processed chemicals. How to plug my phone back in. So I'm consuming these ultra refined chemicals. And that is what my brain is hooked on. And the only reason, this is something that I learned in this book, Bright Line Eating, that I've been listening to on audiobook for 2 years now. The only reason why the entire world isn't at the level of food addiction that someone like me is at is just susceptibility. Some people are less susceptible to the flour and the sugar in the same way that I could do a bunch of coke in a weekend. I could do some cocaine, and then I can just stop doing cocaine. And then I don't need it. I never really got mixed up with opiates, but I could see the allure. I never became physiologically dependent on alcohol. I don't really drink much these days, but I used to drink a lot. But I still, not to the point of addiction, just abuse, I am not susceptible to alcohol the way an alcoholic is. I'm not susceptible to crack and cocaine the way a crackhead is. Is that politically correct? Can we still say crackhead? I'm a flowerhead. Oh, that doesn't sound... Don't call me that. So, what I've come here to say is, when I lost this identity of no longer being able to cry about my problem because there existed a solution, I fucking ran headfirst into like a year-long fast food binge. Now, I never really got into fast food too much, but lately, first of all, I've been broke, and I've just been in this loop of going to the drive-thru and ordering Domino's, and and they gamify this shit where if you download the app and you get points, you get a free blah blah. And on Thursdays it's $2 for a double and all this shit, and like it's like being at a slot machine, trying to get that dopamine hit. And that's what I did after learning about this. It felt so, I was so scared because I could no longer be the guy without a solution. And I was so scared to apply the solution that I just dissociated for a year or more. Wendy's, Domino's, fucking McDonald's. I don't even like McDonald's, but if there was just, and there's very specific things that I'm trying to. It has to be very highly palatable, because my tongue becomes so numb because I'm eating so much shit. So I need like these food bombs, these flavor bombs, And I really put myself into a predicament because I'm back up to 392 pounds. But for the last year, it's been 2 years, so I did about a year of this binging, and then maybe it's been almost 2 years of binging, and for the last year I've been involved with some really beautiful somatic processing work, some really beautiful mindfulness practice that has really moved me closer to the truth of who I am, which I'm still trying to figure out. And, talking about not having any place to hide anymore, it's over. It's over for trying to pretend there's no solution and not doing anything about it. And I'm so thankful for the people in my life that have been holding space for me in the mindfulness work, in the somatic work, in the groups that I'm in, the friends that I have that are in their own involvement with mindfulness and spirituality, that have reached out and been helping me on this path to just get a little bit more centered, to have the wherewithal enough to start doing something about this fucking insidious demon that lives inside of my brain. So I'm on here to exclaim that it's day 5 and I have not had any flour or sugar. That's a lie, because I did eat a wrap the other day. I'm trying. But other than that wrap, for 5 days, I have not had flour and sugar. And I am making this bold statement that I'm abstaining from flour and sugar one day at a time. I'm starting this program called Bright Line Eating that is just full of beautiful, objective truth, verifiable data, and a really supportive community. And someone once said to me, you can only seek for so long, you got to eventually choose something. So, y'all, I can't fucking walk. Like I can't walk. I can't stand for more than 4 hours at a time. I can't do a lot of things, and it's no longer cute to be the fucking fat guy that moves well, because I don't move well anymore. I got a whole system just for putting on my socks, and it sucks, and I want out. And I'm making this video as a form of accountability that I'm 392 pounds today on May 16th, 2024. And my goal is I'm going to lose 100 pounds By when? My first goal is to lose 100 pounds. October 1st was my mark, but I'm not so concerned about the when because I believe that I will. I would like to eventually be about 190 pounds, but that seems so far away and such a fantasy that I'm not even, I don't know. I need some time to sit with that. So I'm stating here right now that my first goal is to just drop 100 pounds. Just so that I don't die or lose a toe. And, I just got blood work done and I'm doing all right. My levels are a little bit weird, a little bit high, but nothing crazy. And I feel blessed that I've abused my body for this long and I still have all my fingers and toes. I don't have diabetes. I don't have heart disease, despite it being running rampant in my family. And I'm not going to get any of that shit because I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to abstain from flour and sugar. And I'm going to come out here and, make videos about it from time to time. And if anybody wants to ride with me or wants information on, I would suggest look into Bright Line Eating by Susan